All right, let's dive deep into the world of Qigong today.
Sounds great.
It seems like it's everywhere these days.
Yeah?
Everyone's talking about it, but
Yeah.
what is it really all about?
Right.
We're going to find out using an interview with Qigong expert Ken Cohen as our guide.
Awesome.
And get this. This goes way beyond simple breathing exercises. We're talking ancient practices,
Wow.
poetry,
Interesting.
even modern science. You're going to be surprised how they all connect.
I'm ready.
By the end of this deep dive, you'll not only understand Qigong,
Good.
but maybe even feel inspired to give it a try yourself.
I like it.
So first things first.
Sure.
What exactly is Qigong?
Well, the term Qigong is actually relatively new.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it only started being used after the 1950s in China.
Wow. So it's not as ancient as I thought.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Before that, it was called Yang Sheng,
Yum Sheng.
which means nurturing life.
Ah, I like that.
Kind of gives you a much more well-rounded picture, don't you think?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Nurturing life definitely has a more holistic feel to it.
Right.
So why did the name change?
It's a pretty fascinating story, actually.
Okay. I'm listening.
It was a strategic move during the Communist Revolution in China.
Oh, wow.
Leaders, like the renowned acupuncturist
Okay.
Zhen, they knew how valuable these ancient practices were.
Makes sense.
But to protect them during this turbulent time,
Oh, I see.
they decided to rebrand them.
Interesting.
They called them Qigong and focused on their potential to boost national health.
That's actually really clever.
It was a way to make sure these practices survived.
So using this newer framework of Qigong, how would Ken Cohen define it?
He describes Qigong as the art and science of using posture, movement, breathing, and meditation to refine, gather, and circulate what he calls the life force.
Okay, so this life force, is
Yeah.
that basically just another word for energy?
It's a bit more nuanced than just energy. Think about it this way.
Okay.
Have you ever walked into a forest and just felt this incredible sense of aliveness and connection?
Oh, yeah, totally.
That's key too. It's this vital, energetic presence
I see.
that flows through everything, not just us.
Okay, so it's not just about the energy inside us,
Right.
but this interconnected energy that flows through everything.
Precisely. Ken Cohen uses a beautiful example from a classic Chinese poem
All right, let's hear it.
to illustrate this. 1,000 mountains, not a bird. 10,000 trails, not a footprint. Alone in a boat, an old man in a straw raincoat fishing through the cold river snow.
Wow, that imagery is powerful.
Even in that stillness,
Yeah.
there's this very real sense of key.
It reminds me of those times when I feel completely absorbed in nature.
Exactly.
Like I'm part of something much bigger than myself.
Right, and that feeling,
Yeah.
that sense of interconnectedness, that's a key part of what Qigong cultivates.
So it's not just about physical fitness.
No, it's not.
It's more about bringing your mind, body,
Yeah.
and spirit into harmony.
Exactly. It's a holistic practice.
You know, that actually reminds me of this time I got injured doing Tai Chi. I kind of underestimated it. I thought it was, a soft art,
Yeah.
and I pushed myself too hard, and I ended up hurting myself.
That's a common misunderstanding.
Is it?
Qigong is about using minimal effort, not weakness.
Okay.
It actually complements vigorous exercise.
I see.
Doesn't replace it.
Okay.
There's this Chinese saying that Ken Cohen highlights.
What is it?
It says, while the outside becomes strong, the inside dries up and rots. So it's about balancing internal and external health.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, you can't just focus on one.
It's like only focusing on building muscle without considering your diet or mental well-being.
It's a good analogy.
You might look strong on the outside,
Right.
but you're neglecting your inner health.
Exactly. And it's important to remember that in ancient China, the people who practiced Qigong also lived very physically active lives.
Oh, that's true.
Farmers,
Right.
laborers,
Yeah.
martial artists,
They needed both.
they did. In our modern lifestyle, though,
Yeah.
we spend so much time sitting on that we need to be more intentional about incorporating Qigong along with exercise.
It's like we have to consciously make that effort to balance it out.
Exactly.
Now, I'm curious about Ken Cohen's own journey with Qigong.
Sure.
Did he have any teachers who really shaped his understanding of the practice?
He mentioned several influential teachers in the interview,
Okay.
but one that really stands out is Dr. Wang Hong Kong.
Dr. Wang, Hong Kong.
Yes. He was a Taoist abbot with an incredible life story.
Wow.
He had this amazing depth of knowledge from a bygone era, and he truly embodied the teachings he passed on.
I can only imagine what it must have been like to learn from someone like that.
It was truly special. He had this amazing depth of knowledge.
So what was one of the most valuable lessons Ken Cohen learned from him?
One that really resonated with me was about alignment.
Alignment.
Yeah, not just physical alignment and the Qigong postures,
Okay.
but alignment between your intention and your actions.
I see.
Dr. Wang emphasized that every movement should have a purpose. It should be done with mindful awareness.
I like that.
Every single movement.
That makes sense. You know, it's like when you're learning a new skill.
Exactly.
Like if your intention and actions aren't aligned, you're not going to get very far.
Right.
Have you ever noticed that?
Oh, absolutely. Whether it's playing an instrument or learning a new sport, that alignment is key.
And in Qigong, it's about aligning your mind, body, and spirit to cultivate that life force we were talking about.
Yeah, exactly.
So now for the question that I think is on a lot of people's minds.
Go ahead.
Can Qigong really help with healing?
This is where things get really interesting.
Okay, tell me more.
Western science is actually finally catching up to what Qigong practitioners have known for centuries.
Really?
There was a very recent study published in the Journal of the American Medical Association
Oh, okay.
that showed that Tai Chi, which is a related practice to Qigong, actually improved cognitive function in people with type 2 diabetes even more effectively than conventional exercise.
Wow, that's incredible. Are there other studies that support this idea of Qigong as a healing modality?
Absolutely. There's a growing body of evidence showing that Qigong can be beneficial for a wide range of conditions.
Okay, like what?
It can help regulate blood pressure and cholesterol,
Wow.
improve respiratory health and digestion. It's even shown promise in boosting circulation, enhancing cognitive function,
Okay.
and even promoting longevity.
That's amazing. It sounds like Qigong has the potential to benefit almost every system in the body.
That's the beauty of it. It's a holistic practice.
And Ken Cohen himself is a testament to that.
Absolutely. At 70 years old,
Wow.
he feels younger and stronger than ever.
That's inspiring.
And he attributes this vitality to his lifelong Qigong and Tai Chi practice.
That's incredible. But I have to admit, all this talk about yi and intention, it sounds very esoteric to me.
I understand. Let's break it down a bit.
Okay, so
Yi simply means intention.
okay, so it's not as complicated as it sounds?
Not really.
Yeah.
Qigong teaches you to cultivate mental focus,
Okay,
to align your mind with your body's movements.
I see.
There's a saying in Qigong,
What is it?
where the yi goes, the qi flows.
So you're saying that our thoughts and intentions can actually influence the flow of qi in our bodies?
Exactly. It's a powerful concept.
Wow. Can you give an example of how that works in practice?
Sure. Try bringing your attention to your palm right now
Okay.
as you focus your mind there.
I'm doing it.
You might start to notice a subtle shift in sensation, maybe some warmth or tingling.
That's wild. So that's my intention, directing qi to my palm.
Precisely.
This is fascinating. But it sounds like Qigong isn't just about this focused, intentional practice.
You're right. There's another side to it.
What's that?
It's about cultivating a state of emptiness as well.
Emptiness.
Yeah. Taoists call this wu wei, or non-action.
Okay.
It's about finding that balance between focused effort
I see.
and effortless being.
Okay, so we're talking about both directing qi with intention and cultivating emptiness.
Exactly. They might seem contradictory, but
They-
they're both essential aspects of Qigong.
This is making my head spin a little,
It's a lot to take in.
but in a good way.
Good. We'll delve deeper into those seemingly opposite ideas a little later
Okay,
and how they actually work together in Qigong practice.
sounds good to me.
But for now,
Yeah.
let's focus on the concept of yi and how it plays a role in healing.
All right. I'm ready when you are.
Okay, let's do it.
This is starting to make sense.
Great. What about you?
Yeah, definitely. I'm really getting into this.
All right, let's keep going.
Sounds good. You know, thinking about intention and all that, it makes me wonder how that plays a role in healing.
Yeah.
Specifically, you know?
Yeah.
Is it like directing qi to a specific place in your body that needs it?
That's a great question, and you're actually on the right track with that.
Really?
Imagine if you had a cut on your hand. You can use Qigong to visualize healing energy flowing to that cut. And that can actually enhance your body's natural healing process.
So it's almost like giving your body's own healing power a boost.
Precisely. It's about working with your body's natural wisdom, not against it.
Okay, that makes sense.
Now, remember how we were talking about cultivating emptiness?
Yeah, along with that focused intention.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There are actually two really beautiful terms from ancient Taoist texts that describe this state of emptiness.
Ooh, I like beautiful terms. Let's hear them.
All right, the first one is Shinai,
Shinai.
which means fasting of the mind.
Fasting of the mind. I like that.
It's a great concept, right?
Yeah, sounds like a much-needed break from like all the mental chatter we deal with all the time.
Exactly. It's about quieting all those thoughts and worries
Yeah.
to create space for inner stillness.
Wow, I love that.
And the second term
Oh,
is Wang.
oh, wow.
It means sitting and forgetting.
Wow.
And it describes this state where your mind just dissolves, completely free from any distractions.
That sounds incredibly peaceful,
It is. It's a beautiful state.
but probably pretty hard to actually achieve.
You're telling me. It takes practice,
Yeah.
patience.
Mm.
There are no quick fixes when it comes to this stuff.
Yeah, that makes sense. But the rewards sound pretty amazing.
Oh, they are. It's a worthwhile journey for sure.
This makes me think about a question we got from a listener named Paula.
Okay, what did Paul ask?
She was struggling with the idea of egolessness in Qigong.
Yeah.
She asks, how do you actually achieve that feeling of egolessness in Qigong?
That is a great question.
Right.
It really gets to the heart of Qigong.
Mm.
And it's not about erasing your ego completely. I see more about transcending its limitations.
Okay.
Recognizing that who you think you are
Yeah.
isn't all of who you are.
It's easier said than done, though, right?
For sure.
Yeah.
It's definitely a journey,
Yeah.
not a destination,
Right.
to illustrate the nature of the self a little bit better.
Okay.
Ken Cohen shared a powerful analogy from the Indian philosopher Shankara.
Okay, let's hear it.
He said, just as a sword cannot cut itself, nor a fire burn itself, so the subject cannot be the object of its own knowledge. Whoa. It's deep, right?
That is deep. It sounds like we're almost trying to grasp something that can't be grasped.
In a way, yes. It's about learning to trust the unknown, to surrender to the mystery of who we are,
I like that.
beyond all our thoughts and labels.
Okay, my head is spinning a little bit, but in a good way.
Good. I'm glad.
I'm curious about the Dantians now.
The Dantians.
Yeah, those energy centers in Qigong.
Oh, yeah.
Can you clarify a little bit about like where they are,
Sure.
what they mean?
The Dantians are basically areas within the body that have this greater capacity to store and move Qigong.
Okay.
Now, their exact locations.
Yeah.
They can vary a little depending on the specific school of Qigong you're looking at.
Mm.
But the three classical Dantians are pretty consistent across most traditions.
Okay, so let's start with the basics.
All right.
Where are these Dantians?
So the upper Dantian is located between your eyebrows.
Okay.
It's often called the third eye.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of that.
It's associated with Shen, which means spirit or mind. So it's considered the center of intuition, wisdom,
Okay.
spiritual connection.
So when people talk about gut feelings,
Yeah.
maybe they're really coming from this upper Dantian.
That's an interesting way to look at it.
What about the other ones?
Okay, so next we have the middle Dantian,
The middle Dantian.
located in the heart and chest area.
Okay.
And this one's connected to Qi,
Okay.
the life force itself.
Right.
And it's thought to play a role in breathing, emotional balance,
Okay.
and love.
So all those like surges of emotion we feel in our chest,
Yeah.
that's the middle Dantian reacting.
Exactly.
And then there's one more, right?
Right. The lower Dantian,
The lower Dantian.
which is located about 3 inches below the navel.
Okay.
This is the one most people think of when they hear the word Dantian.
Yeah.
And this one's associated with Jing,
Jing.
which is our vital essence or primal energy.
So if the upper Dantian is like the mind,
Yeah.
and the middle Dantian is like the heart,
Uh-huh.
the lower Dantian is like our raw kind of instinctual energy.
Yeah, you got it.
Yeah.
It's also connected to reproductive energy,
Oh, okay.
vitality, and grounding.
So each Dantian represents a different aspect of our being.
Yeah, you could say that.
This is so interesting.
It is. It's a fascinating concept.
But how does this all connect back to our everyday experience?
Think about it. Have you ever noticed how you just get a gut feeling about something?
Oh, yeah, all the time?
Well, that's your lower Dantian at work.
Really?
Or when you feel tension or tightness in your chest.
Mm-hmm.
That's your middle Dantian being affected by stress or emotions.
Wow. I never thought about it that way.
Or how about that tension you get in your forehead
Yeah.
when you're trying to focus really hard on something?
Yeah.
That's your upper Dantian struggling to find clarity.
This is starting to click for me. So we're not just talking about these like abstract energy centers,
Right.
but something that we can actually feel in our bodies.
Exactly.
That's amazing.
And by becoming more aware of these sensations, we can actually start to work with our Dantians to enhance our well-being.
So it's not just about understanding it.
No.
It's about actually using this knowledge to make a difference.
For example, if you're feeling anxious, Qigong breathing techniques can actually help calm your middle Dantian and restore emotional balance.
That's so cool. I'm definitely seeing the practical applications now.
Good.
But you mentioned earlier that different Qigong systems might interpret the Dantians a little bit differently.
Oh, yeah, that's
true. Can you talk about that a little more?
Sure. Some traditions actually view the Dantians as horizontally aligned.
Horizontally?
Rather than vertically.
Interesting.
And the specific techniques for working with them will also vary.
Makes sense.
Depending on the lineage.
Right.
But the fundamental principle remains the same.
Okay.
They're powerful energy centers that we can learn to cultivate.
Through Qigong practice.
Exactly.
So it's not about finding like the one right interpretation.
No, not at all.
It's about understanding the core concept.
Right.
And finding the practices that resonate with you.
Precisely. And remember, Qigong is a journey of continuous learning and discovery.
That's a good reminder.
You know, I was thinking about Ken Cohen's story about meeting his teacher, Dr. Wang Hong Kong.
Oh, yeah, in the bookstore.
Yeah, it was like something out of a movie.
It really was.
This chance encounter that turned into this life-changing mentorship.
Yeah, and it speaks to the power of finding teachers who really embody the principles they teach.
Exactly. Dr. Huang wasn't just a master of Qigong.
Right.
He was also a man of great integrity and compassion.
It sounds like Ken Cohen really learned those qualities from him.
Oh, he did. It's so inspiring to see that lineage being passed down.
It is.
It really highlights the importance of mentorship, you know.
Yeah, having someone to guide you along the way.
Exactly. Having that support can make all the difference.
This makes me wonder.
That's that.
Is there a way for like our listeners to experience that kind of mentorship?
That's a good question.
Even if they don't have a Qigong master living down the street.
Right.
Yeah.
I think there are definitely ways to cultivate that sense of connection and guidance even from afar.
How so?
Well, Ken Cohen's books and online resources are a fantastic place to start.
Okay.
He's really good at making these ancient practices accessible to a modern audience.
Yeah, and there are so many other Qigong teachers and communities out there.
That's true.
Both online and in person.
Yeah, you just have to find what works for you.
It's all about finding what resonates with you.
Exactly.
It's a good reminder that we're not alone on this journey.
You know, speaking of community, it makes me think about how we can actually view the Dantians, not just as these individual energy centers in our bodies, but as like points of connection within this larger energetic network that extends beyond ourselves.
Whoa, okay, now we're going next level.
Right.
So we're not just connected to our own energy, we're connected to the energy of others.
Exactly. It's like we're all nodes in this vast web of energy.
I love that image.
And our Dantians are like these portals or gateways that allow us to tap into this interconnected network.
This makes me think about those times when you meet someone and you just feel this instant connection.
Right.
Like there's an energetic spark between you.
Precisely. And this interconnectedness, it's not just some mystical idea.
Right.
It's supported by scientific principles like quantum entanglement.
Quantum physics and Qigong. I never thought I'd see those two in the same sentence.
It's all about recognizing the interconnectedness of everything, from the tiniest subatomic particles to the vast expanse of the universe. We're all part of this intricate dance of energy and information.
This is blowing my mind.
And remember how we talked about the upper Dantian being associated with the third eye?
And intuition?
What if we view intuition as a way of tapping into this interconnected field of information? Like those flashes of insight, those gut feelings.
Yeah.
Maybe they're signals from this larger energetic network.
So we're not just improving our physical health with Qigong.
Right.
We're expanding our consciousness and our understanding of the world.
Exactly.
Who knows what other mysteries and possibilities are out there hidden within this ancient practice.
It's a journey of endless discovery.
This has been an incredible exploration so far.
It has been.
I feel inspired, but also a little overwhelmed by all this new information.
I get it. It's a lot to take in.
Yeah.
But don't worry, we'll continue this conversation in the next part of our deep dive.
Sounds good.
Okay.
I think our listeners could probably use a little break to process all of this too.
Yeah. It's a little time to digest everything.
We'll be back soon to explore even more about the amazing world of Qigong.
Can't wait.
Welcome back to our deep dive on Qigong.
Glad to be back.
I'm still thinking about everything we talked about last time,
Me too.
especially all that stuff about the Dantians
Yeah.
acting as portals to this larger energetic network.
It's a pretty amazing concept, right?
It really is. It
Yeah.
makes you see the world in a totally different way.
It challenges our whole idea of what it means to be an individual.
Right. Like we're all interconnected,
Exactly.
not separate at all.
It's a big shift in perspective.
It is. And one thing that keeps coming up
Yeah.
is this idea of egolessness in Qigong.
Mm.
I know a lot of our listeners are curious about that.
Makes sense.
Like Paula, who wrote in with a question about it.
Right.
It's such a profound concept.
It is.
And as we talked about before, it's
Yeah.
not about like getting rid of your ego completely.
No, it's not about erasing it.
Yeah,
It's about transcending its limitations.
right, like recognizing that there's more to us
Exactly.
than just our ego.
It's about recognizing that our sense of self is way more fluid and expansive.
So it's not about becoming some kind of emotionless robot.
No, not at all.
Hmm.
It's more about letting go of that need to control everything
Okay.
and just allowing ourselves to be present in the flow of life.
That sounds amazing, but also really challenging.
It is. Our egos are pretty good at keeping us stuck in our comfort zones.
They really are. So how does Qigong help with that?
Well, it gives us tools and practices that can help us loosen the grip of the ego.
Okay, like what?
Well, we've already talked about cultivating emptiness.
Right, through meditation and breathwork.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Those practices can help us quiet the mind,
Yeah.
create space for a more expansive awareness to come through.
So it's like we're creating this space where we can just observe our thoughts and emotions
Right.
without getting swept away by them.
Exactly. And by practicing Qigong movements mindfully,
Yeah.
we can also cultivate a deeper connection to our bodies and to our energetic field,
Okay.
which can help us feel more grounded and centered,
I see.
less influenced by the whims of the ego.
It sounds like Qigong is about finding this balance between effort and surrender.
You got it.
We're not forcing things to happen,
Right.
but we're not just passively sitting back and letting life pass us by either.
It's a dynamic dance between intention and allowing,
Yeah.
between cultivating our energy and trusting the flow.
This reminds me of something Ken Cohen said about courage
Oh,
and integrity.
He talked about how it takes real courage to face our inner shadows, to acknowledge our imperfections,
Yeah.
and to commit to living in alignment with our values.
It's not easy to do that.
It's not. And he emphasized that real courage isn't about being fearless.
Right.
It's about being willing to show up authentically,
Yeah.
even when we're afraid.
That's a powerful message.
It is. It reminds us that Qigong isn't just about physical health or energetic mastery.
All right. It's about so much more.
It's about cultivating a way of being in the world
Uh-huh.
that's rooted in authenticity,
Yeah.
compassion, and courage.
That's beautiful.
And it reminds us that this journey isn't about reaching some distant goal.
Right.
It's about embracing the process of growth
Yeah.
and transformation.
I love that. It takes the pressure off
It does.
and allows us to just enjoy the journey.
Exactly.
Speaking of enjoying the journey,
Yeah.
have you been trying out any of the Qigong practices we've been talking about?
I have. I actually started incorporating a simple Qigong warm-up
Oh, yeah.
into my morning routine.
Nice.
It just takes a few minutes,
Uh-huh.
but I've noticed a difference in how I feel throughout the day.
Really?
I feel more grounded, more energized, and definitely more focused.
That's awesome. I've been playing around with some of the breathing techniques we talked about.
Oh, yeah.
And I have to say, I'm feeling a subtle shift in my energy levels, too.
That's great to hear.
I feel calmer, more centered, and less reactive to stress.
It's amazing how these small, consistent practices can have such a big impact.
They really can.
It's a testament to the power of Qigong.
I have to admit,
What's that?
I was a bit skeptical of Qigong at first.
Really?
Yeah, it sounded a little too out there for me.
I understand.
But after diving into it with you,
Yeah.
I'm starting to see it in a whole new light.
I'm glad to hear that.
It's not just some mystical practice.
Right.
It's a system of self-cultivation that's been around for centuries.
Exactly.
And now modern science is starting to validate it.
It's so fascinating how Qigong bridges that gap.
It does, between ancient wisdom and modern understanding.
Yeah, it offers us a path.
To greater health, vitality,
Yeah.
and even spiritual growth.
This deep dive has been transformative.
It really has. For both of us, I think.
I agree.
I'm definitely feeling inspired to keep exploring Qigong
Me too.
and see where this journey takes me.
It's an exciting path.
It is. Before we wrap up, is there anything else you want to share about Qigong?
You know, As we've been talking about all these different aspects of Qigong,
Yeah.
I keep coming back to that question that Ken Cohen asked.
What was it?
Where do you feel Qi flowing in your own body?
Oh, yeah. I remember that.
It's such a powerful question for all of us to consider.
It really is. It encourages us to look inward, to be curious, to pay attention to our own experience.
And to embark on our own personal journey of discovery.
Who knows what we'll find along the way.
Exactly.
Thank you for joining us on this incredible journey into the world of Qigong.
It's been my pleasure.
We hope you enjoyed it.
I did.
Remember, the power to cultivate your Qi is within you.
It is.
Keep exploring.
Keep practicing.
And keep diving deep.
We'll see you next time.